to the Rundown Live. Your protection from deception. And your forecast into the future.
Well, this evening, the airport now using robots. They'll soon be joining baggage handlers at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. Japan Airlines is starting a 2-year trial with the humanoid robots to see if...
Say one day we'll be able to carry our phones around in our pockets and even do video calls where we can see each other while we talk.
No way. That's weird.
Yeah, that's too much. Why would anyone want to do that?
I'm very, very pleased to announce that the first baby clone is born. She was born yesterday at 11:55 a.m. in the country where she was born. So this will not give you more details about the location. She's fine. We call her Eve between us. You knew that, of course. Some suggested it, and I thought it was a good idea, actually. You won't have the right name. And, you know, for a long time, I thought that this press conference will be with the baby, the parents, the scientists, everybody surrounding me, and having pleasure announcing it. I'm alone. And there is a reason to that, is that it hasn't been easy to face the world with this announcement. And we have been discussing with the parents the last 3 months how we would handle today. And they decided not to show up yet. They will. I hope they will. And I wish them well. We started really to work with human eggs in January of this year. So it took us 3 months to finalize. And this is very short, and that's why I said, is it luck or is it hard work? I do believe it's hard work. But we had really good success very quickly and refined the technique for human eggs until spring, where we started to have implantation. We had 10 implantations, and 5 of them during the first 3 weeks were terminated spontaneously. 5 others were successful and are still successful. The first one was born yesterday. The next one is due in Europe next week.
Remember when the president said that we were going to get checks for all that fraud they uncovered with Doge? Because they found like $50 million of our taxpayer dollars going to like gender transition surgeries on rats in Egypt. And they were like, we're going to get Americans a check for that so fast. And then we never got a check for it and went to war for Israel instead. And remember when they were like, we're going to release the Epstein files if we get him elected, and we're gonna release him, and we're gonna find those bad guys, and we're gonna put him in jail, dude. Put him in jail. And then he was like, actually, we're not gonna release those, and you guys are stupid for asking for them. Stupid idiots. Look at you stupid fucking idiots over there wanting your Epstein thing. You don't even exist. And we were like, what? And then they were like, we're gonna make America healthy again. America's gonna be so healthy, oh my God. And then they were like, actually, we're granting immunity to glyphosate. We're gonna put it in all your food and you can't say anything about it. And also, you can't sue us about it. Take that, fucker. What?
Hey, hold on. Why am I in hell? I'm a Christian. Oh, you're my favorite kind of Christian. You're a fake Christian who uses the Bible to justify hate and judgment. But hey, you do worship my chosen Antichrist, so that's a plus, I guess.
You are not allowed to run a mass surveillance state, whether it's run by the CIA, Peter Thiel and his butt buddies, or the SWAT cameras. I will ban SWAT cameras as Florida governor.
Epstein once told me that every girl he had sex with had benefited in one of 3 ways. Either he had given them money to better their lives, or he helped to jumpstart their career, or he had married them off to one of his successful friends. All of the girls in Epstein's household knew for example, that in 1994, a former girlfriend of Epstein, a woman in her 20s, married another man in his social circle. He told me he'd be willing to do the same sort of matchmaking for me. When he said this, he clearly believed that what he was offering me was a life-changing gift. Maxwell was a different animal, selfish, certainly, but more fragile than Epstein, especially after she turned 40 on Christmas Day of 2001. The insecurities that lurked under the surface of her outgoing persona emerged. Maxwell began lashing out at me during our threesomes. For example, she would grab a larger-than-size and use it to hurt me. If I complained, she hurt me more. But while her motivations were unkind, Maxwell was right to warn me about the implications of getting older.
Jeffrey Epstein had a caboose on Zorro Ranch, but in the last few years, it's gone missing. This is a highly suspicious rabbit hole that I really think needs to be looked into by authorities. So if you've gone through any of the Epstein files, you've probably seen this caboose. This is an image of the caboose in Jeffrey Epstein's notorious birthday book. And if you go through the photos found in the Epstein files, you can see lots of images taken of and inside of this train car. Like this image right here, which appears to show 2 Epstein survivors out front of the caboose, and this image of the caboose found elsewhere in the files.
Check. To help determine if someone you know is drawn to Satanism, review these levels of satanic involvement. The fun and games level may include conversations, ego boosts, and possibly some initial interest in the subject. This level also includes the fantasy role-playing games, which could lead into the second level, referred to as the dabblers, a half-belief in Satanism or some serious interest. It is at this second level where warning signs of satanic behavior may be apparent, such as a sudden, bitterly antagonistic attitude towards family and religion, a drastic decline in academic performance, a reclusive behavior pattern, and listening exclusively to heavy metal rock music, almost to the point of addiction. When one or more of these warning signs are evident, you should look further for ritual items such as a pentagram or other satanic symbols, black or red robes, a decorative dagger or knife, a chalice or goblet, black candles, a personal diary with a black cover, which is called a Book of Shadows, and copies of publications, such as the Satanic Bible and the Satanic Rituals, and possibly a small makeshift altar. If you discover items such as these, experts advise you contact your local law enforcement agency.
Operation Paperclip brought over 1,600 German scientists into the United States government after World War II, including individuals who had conducted human experimentation in concentration camps. The CIA and military were aware of their backgrounds and recruited them anyways. In your research, did you find direct documentation between Paperclip scientists and the development of MKUltra's experimental protocols, specifically the use of mescaline, hypnosis, and sensory deprivation, which were techniques also documented at Dachau?
Absolutely. Kurt Blome, who was the chief of biological weapons development for the Nazi government, came to work for the CIA. So did Walter Schreiber, who was the Surgeon General of the Nazi Army. I can just tell a brief story. When I was researching my book, I found what I think might be the first secret CIA prison or black site. It's a nice chalet in Germany. And the guy who now owns it took me into the basement. He said these were the cells where the MKUltra officers, working side by side with Nazis, carried out those gruesome experiments, which were actually just continuations of the experiments that those Nazis had been conducting just a few years earlier right down the road.
Just for timeline and clarification, these experiments were happening after the Nuremberg trials, correct? So the CIA would have known that these were crimes against humanity.
I looked for an episode in which the Nuremberg doctrines were posted on the wall in some MKUltra or CIA office, and I was never able to find any indication that those Nuremberg principles ever were even consulted, much less obeyed.
I'm tired of the Democrat Party making bitches out of our women and pussies out of our men. I'm tired of it. I'm tired. I've had enough of it. I've had enough of it. The man needs to stand up and be a man. Stand up and take back our community. stand up and tell the truth. And Al Sharpton needs to go. He needs to be off television tomorrow. He needs to go. You look at the children that are suffering, ain't got no daddy, and watching mama and some nigga she dragged in off the street having sex, because all they got is that one room. And the daughter's watching, a 3-year-old daughter watching sex going on. It needs to stop.
What's your probable cause?
I don't need probable cause. Come on, out. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Oh, yo, this is crazy. Are you serious? 16 pound off. You're under arrest for obstructing. Car unidentified. Car's being towed. Shit. Wow. Okay. Roll over.
You're listening to the Rundown Live with Kriston T. Harris.
Well, this evening, the airport now using robots. They'll soon be joining baggage handlers at Tokyo's Haneda Airport. Japan Airlines is starting a 2-year trial with the humanoid robots.
Say one day we'll be able to carry our phones around in our pockets and even do video calls where we can see each other while we talk.
Now, you don't know it yet, but you are listening to history in the making while you are listening to this show.
We know now that in the early years of the 20th century, this world was being watched closely by intelligences greater than man, yet as mortal as his own.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!"
Censored by the mainstream media, the destroyer of fake news, and your host of the Rundown Live, Kriston T. Harris.
Thank you for tuning in to the Rundown Live, rundownlive.com. I'm your host, Kriston T. Harris, and we have a great episode lined up for you guys today. We're going to be diving into some pretty interesting subjects, including designer babies. You know, robot police are taking over in China, amongst other places. We're going to get into holographic technology and a whole bunch more. But before we do that, we got to talk about a few things. First of all, how can you support this broadcast? Well, the best way is to go on down to the rundownlive.com, check out the website, share the live feed. And of course, if you want to get this broadcast audio live, one of our syndications is Ground Zero Plus Radio. You can just go to your Google Play Store, your Apple App Store, and just look up for On-Air Disclosure Talk Radio, or go to groundzeroplus.com, groundzeroplusradio.com, and you can go ahead and, groundzeroplus.com, groundzeroplus.com, go there, and right on the front page, you can actually click on the link, and you can download the app right to your phone. We're also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher, and anywhere where you can get a podcast and listen to this broadcast. That being said, I want to do a call to action today, a call to action for our good homeboy, Ron Patton. If you guys don't know, Ron Patton, producer of Ground Zero, he's helped this broadcast. He's booked a bunch of guests for me over the years. He's got me on some pretty big shows, including Clyde Lewis. I don't know if you might have been the one that talked Clyde into letting me host his broadcast on AM and FM radio for, a couple weeks. And I want to say thank you to Ron, and you can support him. He is going through some serious health concerns. And I want to mention, there is no 401k. There is no retirement fund for activism and people who dedicate their life to the cause of bringing you truth and information that you won't hear anywhere else. And Ron Patton has been a guy behind the scenes for many, many years. He was originally a manager of Fritz Springmeier, if you guys remember that guy. Also, he's the producer over at Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis. And by the way, we can't wait for Big Daddy Clyde to come back on radio. You know, every day is one day closer to Clyde Lewis returning to radio, and I know a lot of you out there are probably really excited for that day. He is one of the anchors on vacation, and if you want to carry this broadcast, the Rundown Live, we're always looking for new, the YouTube, the Boo Tube, as I call it, because, you know, they ban you as soon as you get big. Well, you know, we probably got burned through a dozen channels on there already, millions of hits, but, you know, they keep whacking them all us and getting rid of us. But you definitely got to check out Ron Patton. Help donate. Go to his GoFundMe. It's called Support Ron's Healing Journey with Integrated Care. You can go to his Facebook, just check out Ron Patton and make a donation, man. Support Ron Patton. I know I've given a couple of times to help support Ron. And as we go through our health journey at some point in my life, who knows? If I don't go quick, I might need your help too. So that being said, we're going to dive into today's news stories. And I want to shout out to the people in the chat who are dropping comments right now. Thank you guys out there. Keep dropping the comments, and we'll get to some of those when we dive into some of these incredible stories I got lined up here for you guys right here on the broadcast. That being said, man, these robots are getting crazy creepy. I don't know if you've seen some of these things, but like they have real life robots that are looking almost human-like. Here we go. This is one that I see. We're gonna turn the volume down. But if you're looking at this, tell me about this robot, man. What are you guys seeing? Does this not look like something that is real? There's going to be some dude out there, he's going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and marry me, my little anime robot. Because that's what this is leading to. People are going to get, addicted to these things. Why would you want a physical wife when you have a robot that will wipe your ass and do everything you want? You could take it to the bedroom. You can have it make you a sandwich. You can have it'll work around the clock. It'll give you a back massage. Look at how real. I'm not saying this thing's going to feel real touch, warmth or anything like that. But there's somebody that's going to take this to the hotel room. There's going to be a whole robot brothel. Isn't that what Westworld is about? Like, that's where we're going with this. Westworld. For those that don't know, the video we're showing on the screen is a hyper-realistic humanoid robot from China. And if you guys look at it, you would see what I see, and you're like, holy cow. This is what our data centers are building. This is what the data centers are being built for. So you can have this companion robot when you get old. It'll take care of your grandma and grandpa in a nursing home, so you can go ahead and forget about them, right? Who cares about Mima and Papa or Mima and Grandpa or whatever you call the people you love that are older than you, the wise ones, the ones that you used to take, care of. Back in the day, families would take care of your parents when they were ill. You didn't send them to a nursing home. But, we're going to have robots, these kind of robots. Holy cow, this is creepy. And I don't know what you guys think. I would get a robot. I'm just saying, like, it would be nice to never have to clean, have something to do dishes. But I'm sure they're not going to be cheap. We're probably talking about twice as much as a car. Amongst other things, robot will be able to drive your car. We're going to have robot butlers, robot police. We're going to dive into that a little bit more. And not only that, transformer robots. Check this out. This is
unveiled its transformable robot, T1. The robot can switch between two completely different physical forms. It can move on two wheels in humanoid mode to navigate tight spaces and transform into a four-legged quadruped mode for walking on grass or climbing stairs. According to the company, T1 can autonomously switch between humanoid and quadruped modes based on its environment.
Oh, Optimus Prime is here, and all the kids are going to love it. Oh, Optimus Prime, come save me. There's some bad crime happening. Transform! Robots, we're out! And, they're all going to really be Decepticons in disguise because they're going to be run by those AI data centers. You know what's crazy? Did you know that the United States has built over 2,000 data centers? You know how many? And we gotta beat China in the war. We gotta beat China in the AI war. You know how many AI data centers China has? I think they have under 250. And if you look it up, I think they say the United States is at 4,000. I'm in Wisconsin, and they're like, whack-a-mole, data center, data center. I drove down to hang out with Brad Olson, and if you guys don't know Brad Olson, then you should check him out. He's one of the guys that appears on Ancient Aliens. He owns CCC Publishing, which is an esoteric book company, and he has done a lot of speaking engagements. He's been on Gaia Television, all over the place. And when I was going down there, man, I'm telling you, flock cameras, AI data centers, all the way through Racine into Kenosha. And I don't want to even know what's going on up north. And if you're from Wisconsin and you don't understand the Scotty accent, we call it up north here, up north Wisconsin. And, the data centers are coming so the robots can wipe your ass, and Optimus Prime transformable robot can stop crime in your local community. Not to mention invisible drones. And if you missed last week I filled in on the War Room for Harrison Smith. And Steve Poikinen joined us. He's like, yeah, they got invisible drones. It's like they live. That's a great thing. We really need those invisible drones. Fuck yeah. Bring on the invisible drones. Why do we need invisible drones? Like, what's the purpose? For war, it's always about war. We're at war with Iran, which we shouldn't be, but the Epstein files, if you guys forgot, those are out there, and people are really not talking about them as much anymore. And there's a couple things about the Epstein files that are really interesting since we're kind of being scattered-brained this morning. The first thing is that it's the only time in history I've seen the government create a search bar for any release that they've done. Did they do like any, for the disclosure documents, did they do a search bar? No, it's because this allows them to filter what you search. If you search, it won't find it. If you go and comb through each document, you might find things that you're not supposed to, per se. It allows them to control what you do. That's the first time ever that's happened. But yeah, transformable robots are here. I mean, look at this thing. It's got wheels. Mike and I would talk about this maybe 15 years ago. When
But a Chinese robotics...
And we're like, yeah, just put some wheels on it and roll out. I mean, here it is. I want to know when they're going to start having wheels for humans. Like, you're going to be cybernetically enhanced and you can't walk, so they're going to just put you into some kind of like Professor X or Xavier robotic meat suit. Like, it's going to be a robotic exoskeleton with wheels, and you're going to just roll around the United States when you're traveling. You're going to be like, yeah, I think I'll roll into Milwaukee, and you're going to see a bunch of like human, like cyborg mech warrior suits with wheels on it, and people that can't walk will be just driving around, which is cool. Like, I'm all for giving people who can't walk some abilities, but this is getting wild, man. This is getting wild. And it's not just here. Robots are appearing all over the place. All over the place. And we're not even talking about biological robots. We're going to get into CRISPR gene editing and a bunch of other things in a little bit, including holographic technology. But did you know that the Mexican police, they're getting the robot dogs? Yes, they are. They are getting the robot dogs. They love the robot dogs. Here it is. Robot dogs to assist Mexican police during the 2026 World Cup. That's right. They're at the World Cup. Robot dogs. A pack of... Remember during COVID? There's like robot dogs going down the street and walking down the street. Probably had the facial recognition and the flock-style plate reader cameras all over it. A pack of robot dogs will help Mexican police tackle crime during the 2026 World Cup this summer. Authorities have said the four-legged robots are designed to enter dangerous areas, broadcast live video back to security forces who can watch before taking action during the football tournament. Well, so here's the deal. If they're live streaming everything in real time, what do you think the Americans are doing with the flock cameras soon? And by the way, when they get rid of the flock cameras, they're replacing them with Axon cameras. And guess who owns money in Axon? Oh, the good old orange Donald Trump. He's the good old guy. He's the president everyone wanted. And all of a sudden he's turned into a traitor after the Epstein files were released. And there's rumors that he's in the Epstein files quite a bit more than we're led to believe. But we are going to find out more about that, I'm sure, after he leaves office. I am guessing. But these robots are popping up all over the place. And this is what the data centers are going to go to help build. How do you think they're going to update these robots? How do you think that they're going to update the software and control the robots? Well, they need the AI to run the robots. And thank you to the Patriot Act, we can now gather all the metadata that they want, liquid gold, and we feed it into RoboCop here. And look at this thing. This thing is huge. Look at this. Is crazy to me that we're like, yeah, this is okay. I'm all about it. Let's go ahead and have... So here you go. This is RoboCop. Holy cow. This is the new police robot, futuristic robot joined SWAT patrol in China. Look at this thing. It's just, for those that are listening at home, it looks like something out of iRobot, except for it looks like a Cyberman. Do you guys remember Doctor Who? You know, Doctor Who had a couple enemies. It was like the Daleks and Cybermen. Those were the two big ones, and the Daleks look like, you know, the Nightscope K5 conveniently. And this one just looks like a Cyberman. Check this thing out. On May 1st, Nietzsche posted videos of social media showing a humanoid robot patrolling the streets of Shenzhen. And it weighs 75 kilograms and is capable of performing challenging maneuvers such as running, combat moves, and spinning kicks. That's great. We need karate robots. That's exactly what we want in China. If China's getting them, you know, Donald Trump is like, China, we got to beat China. Wuhan, China. China's responsible for the fraud. And so let's just be worse than China and build a lot more data centers. We can build that social credit score. You know, we can do some mining facilities for that central banking digital currency. We'll be ahead of it since we have 4,000 data centers and the rest of the world has almost none compared to what the United States is. But we got to build more. We got to build more. It's going to eat up all our environmental water and everything else, destroy the local community. You can't sleep at night because of the viral noise it makes. It's just wild to me. And here we have these super crazy Cybertron, cyborg type robots that are already patrolling in China. I don't know what you guys make of these things, but these things look crazy to me. I mean, what do? You get pulled over and it's this robot. What are your thoughts? What are you going to do? You're sitting there and here's the robot ready to go ahead and arrest you. I mean, the cops are already crazy. Imagine if they're standing behind a robot and the robot does whatever it wants to do. And the cop's like, well, it must have been legal. The AI robot said so. It's going to come in and rip your door right off and pull you out of the car, just like the real cop does. I don't know what to make of it. Here's another one, another humanoid robot that's just in the news. These things are popping up. Like, we haven't talked about robots in a while, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a little bit about this. But I don't know if you guys have seen these things. Here's another Chinese first robot traffic police squad begins operations. Now they got traffic police robots. I wonder how they charge these things. The robot traffic police team consists of 15 intelligent traffic management robots. Their main task includes guiding non-motorized vehicles and pedestrians away from violations, assisting traffic control, and providing navigation services to tourists. They work in coordination with human police officers to improve overall traffic management. I mean, these things aren't here just to wipe your ass, and we're begging for them. We're like, yeah, build those data centers. Give me more data centers. And let's go ahead. I want to show you guys what a Cyberman looks like because, the sci-fi kid in me that I grew up with, this is what the Cyberman looked like. When I grew up, I used to watch Doctor Who as a kid with my uncle. That'd be like when he'd babysit me, he'd be like, yeah, let's watch Doctor Who. I'd be like, okay, here it is. This is the Cyberman. I mean, that's what we're looking at, isn't it? Holy cow. It's like, let's bring our science fiction childhood youth from Doctor Who alive, and we'll just go ahead and create and call it RoboCop. And if not, we'll just make the Dalek version because, here's the Dalek version. This is Fox News, by the way, talking about Ohio robots. Ohio cop robots. Here it is. Let's go ahead and show this video. Because we need to have these cop robots. They're there to make your life safe, right? Oh, here it is. Police robot. Could RoboCop?
It's important where you take your.
Cyber expert says RoboCops are reality that could happen, and they're already here. I mean, Dublin, Ohio gave a robot cop a trial run inside a public parking garage. Less than a year later, the machine was off the job and headed back to its maker. So, maybe not so successful. Maybe not so smart. Maybe people abuse it. But let's take a look at this thing. Here we go.
Could robot cops be something that in the not so distant future? Well, tech billionaire Mark Benioff seems to think that it's a possibility, and he floated that idea to the CEO of robotics company Figure AI. Joining us now, Kurt Knudsen, the cyber guy. So I'm going to ask you two quick questions. Is this really in the future?
Good morning, Rachel. It's a reality that could happen. We're going to see robots on the streets become robo-cops in the future. We've seen them sort of in subway systems, these things that monitor and really just report back information. So, I mean, those have been somewhat effective at deterring crime. But what he's talking about is addressing something that, I mean, for someone like me who covers technology, I have to find myself in the San Francisco Bay Area all the time. And when you go there, since COVID, it is really just depressingly sketchy. There's such sketchy garbage on the street. It feels like you're in a walking meth lab. And for anyone visiting there, you're going to see the same thing. So I think what he's doing is try to speak to that. And he's saying, hey, we've got to do something. There are not enough police officers on the force in the city of San Francisco. So he's just trying to fill the gap here. So will humanoid robots be the answer?
No.
I don't know. Not anytime soon, but I think what he's trying to do is just ring the bell and say, hey, we got to do something about this.
My gut instinct says this is a very bad idea, but you tell me what your concerns are. Give me the other side.
My concerns would be privacy, huge privacy concerns. You have machines out there telling people what to do, reporting on people, or, God forbid, using force against citizens in the U.S. I don't think that's a good idea yet. We're not there. It's not Arnold Schwarzenegger's dream come true with his movies coming to real life just yet. But it is something we certainly have our eye on. And then we also just have our eye on the fact that nothing seems to be getting done in California, up in the Bay Area, when you just visit what was the most spectacularly beautiful city in California. And it's just like Skid Row everywhere.
So right now the issue is cost effectiveness, right? Why would you need robots when you can just put flock cameras all over the place? Although people are cutting them down at alarming rates, I don't encourage any violence. I encourage you to go to City Hall, do things like suggest that you're going to start a company that puts flock cameras across. That's just it. None of these councilmen want flock cameras across the street from their home and monitoring them at all times. But if you suggested that, all of a sudden it's a bad thing, seeing where their kids go, where they go, who comes over, who doesn't come over. I mean, it's for their safety, right? So a lot of cities are starting to ditch these flock cameras, which is a real thing. But if you put the flock cameras and you put that kind of technology on a Nightscope K5 or robot, it starts to seem more appealing and sexy to the government, right? If you can make it so the robot has like a Stingray hailstorm, like every robot is a cell phone site simulator and can download all cell phone conversations in real time straight to the police robot. And then it has facial recognition and streams live video and has facial recognitions, goes through the AI database and fusion centers and can identify threats. That's really where this is all going to go. The problem is the robots aren't cheap. I'm sure that they're not cheap to run. And when they come down in price at some point, I think that everywhere you're going to look, you're going to see robots. I went to Miami and they had robots delivering pizza and food. But all over the United States, people are rebelling, and rightfully so, conservatives and liberals, about flock safety cameras being put up in their neighborhood. They can do so many different things, right? They can see if you're speeding, if you're not speeding, who you correlate with, how often you go to certain locations, how many times you drive past, who you drove by with, and they take pictures of your vehicle and you and your plates, right? And, now that people are protesting, they're cutting them down, city halls are pulling them, all they're doing is switching out the flock safety cameras with Axon cameras. Oh, because they do the same job. It's the same thing, except Donald Trump benefits from Axon cameras. And you're saying, what do you mean? Well, if I look up, we'll do it right here live on radio and on TV here for you guys to see here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to look this up. I bet you if I ask, does Donald Trump own Axon? And then he'll say, no, Donald Trump does not own Axon. He had an investment size of $1 million and between $1 million and $5 million. Donald Trump invested in Axon. So if Axon Enterprise gets the contract, guess who makes more money? I wonder who that could be. Could that be the Donald? It's probably the Donald of Trump. Donald Trump probably makes all that extra money, as well, because he invested in this Axon video camera. So, people don't like the flock. Let's give them Axon. It's, the lesser of two evils, but it's the same BS. It's the same trash. It's the same trash. And how long till they just like beam you like a holographic cop? I mean, technology is getting crazy. It's interesting. They have a company out there called Looking Glass. And if you guys have never heard of Looking Glass is, that was an old like government secret operation. Operation Looking Glass was an attempt to look into the future. But now all of a sudden there's a holographic company that does holograms, right? And they're called Looking Glass. And they've been making 3D holographic technology. A new spatial display architecture integrates a holographic depth layer into optical stack of standard display panels, enabling group viewable spatial content without headsets or visualized viewing hardware. That's right. We're getting closer to it. You're my only hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi. R2-D2 sending the holographic image out so you can see it. And to give you some video presence around this subject of Looking Glass, here we go. We're going to show you guys on screen. What does Looking Glass look like? What does that look like to you and me in real life? What does it look like when we record it on camera? And here's the YouTube video. We're going to go pull this up here. Give me just one moment. And we got this here live for you now.
Looking Glass at ISE 2026. Today we're showing our new product at Looking Glass with our partners at Phaetech, the 86-inch HLD or hololuminescent display. This is our first time showing it publicly, so we're excited about it. It's brand new technology, and basically it's a holographic display, which means groups of people can see immersive 3D content without any eye tracking, any headgear, anything like that. You just walk up to it and you see this amazing content. With this technology, we've actually taken the holographic experience and we've put it into the display hardware itself. So all this 3D alcove that you see here is actually an optical effect, which lets you have high resolution content floating inside of that volume. And you can use all your standard content production pipelines. So your standard CMS tools, your standard digital signage players, all this content is made in tools like Premiere and also AI generation. So you have your standard video content pipelines, but an immersive experience for the end user. If you're curious about this display, you can contact us on our website at lookingglassfactory.com.
And that's what we're looking at here, is that they're getting closer and closer. And by the way, I love technology. I think this kind of stuff is cool. I think holographic technology is cool. But Hyundai is to develop full windshield holographic display. Oh, that's right. Your car is going to have holograms built into it in the future, so you can have the digital cop come up on your car display and be like, you're speeding. You're speeding. And if you don't believe me, there was a story a couple weeks ago where they were talking about implanting computer chips in your car so you can't speed. Oh, they know it's 55. You can't go faster than 55. What happens if your wife is pregnant and going to give birth? Better call an ambulance. That's going to cost you a couple thou. Why not? Hyundai Mobis said Tuesday had partnered with German optical system maker Zeiss, German adhesive tape maker Tessa, French automotive glass maker Saint-Gobain to develop and produce a next-generation holographic windshield display for 2029. Windshields are already expensive to, replace. They used to be cheap. You get a rock in the windshield, $150. Somebody come out, switch it out for you. Surprisingly, it was one of the cheaper things. But now they have all these sensors. Is it raining out to automatically turn on your windshield wipers? That kind of stuff. And now the windshield, replacements running into the thousands of dollars. Well, shit, holographic, windshield for a vehicle is going to cost you even more. I mean, is that something we really need? The film is as transparent as glass, but the display can be up to twice as bright as outdoor LED display boards, ensuring clear visibility even in bright sunlight. So, this is something that we've been seeing in the movies. That's something that's coming. This is the Korean Herald. They're talking about the latest and holographic technology. Here's Engadget also talking about the same technology. A holographic windshield from Hyundai Mobis is a big upgrade for all in-car HUDs at CES 2025. And, that's what they want you to do. You'll be able to sit in your car, watch a movie, whatever it is, while robot car drives you wherever you want. Maybe you have a warrant and robot car will take you right to the police station. Now we're talking about something even more personal. Like, we've just talked about cars, we talked about retail, but how about in your home? Science Daily reports scientists unveil a breakthrough pixel that could put holograms on your cell phone. Oh, that's just what we need. Holographic cell phones. People are addicted enough to their Mark of the Beast transmitter here, where anyone can follow you, track you, and listen into you, and see you, and hear from you, and see where you're at all times. We now need to put holograms on our cell phone. I'm sure there's a lot of money in this. A team of universities of St. Andrews has unlocked a major step towards true holographic displays by combining OLEDs and holographic meta surfaces. Unlike traditional laser-based holograms, this compact and affordable method could transform smart devices, entertainment, and even virtual reality. The breakthrough allows entire images to be generated from a single OLED pixel, removing long-standing barriers and pointing to a future of lightweight, miniaturized, holographic tech. Oh, okay. You'll lay down your phone like it shows here in the image, and the hologram will shoot up from it, right? That's what R2-D2 is. You're my only hope, Obi-Wan Kenobi, right? Princess Leia. You guys remember that line? Maybe I'm old and dating myself. But that's where we're going with this, and it's interesting. I think it's pretty cool. I think holographic technology is a double-edged sword. I always like new tech, but this is how they're going to make you a goy slop of just sitting at home looking at your holographic movies, which I'm down for. I like entertainment, but, Looking Glass, all these different companies are out there, and they are doing incredibly bizarre things. So a year ago, they were saying designer baby companies were in turmoil. Do you guys remember? And I was like, hell yeah, that's a big win. That's a big win. Designer babies, heck, we don't need a little baby Baphomet. We don't need little elf babies running around going goo goo gaga, going to the designer baby factory of Sears to go pick out your baby, but you don't want one that's a, cookie cut blueprint baby that looks like Brad Pitt because, he's going to make all that licensing on his DNA because there'll be a bunch of babies that look just like him because, every girl always wanted a Brad Pitt baby. That's the future. You think I'm joking? They have that ability. They've already cloned babies back in 2001 Clonaid. But here we have it. Bootstrap Bio and Manhattan Genomics, which were pursuing gene editing in human embryos to prevent serious disease, have shut down. And you're like, all right. But surprise, the argument doesn't end there. New in the news, and we're talking about this month, gene-edited babies are now closer to becoming reality. The ethical debate is far from settled, though. And so they're going to go ahead and they're going to try to give this another run. For a while, companies were folding. They weren't getting the funding. But here it is. CNN reports gene-edited babies are now closer to becoming a reality. The ethical debate is far from settled. But what's really interesting and one of the coolest stories that I have heard in a long time, right, that I've really dove into is the fact that they're doing base-edited babies. Now, this isn't genetically engineering a baby from nothing. This is like taking an existing baby that might have, issue, and they're going to make a little puzzle piece to fix the problem. That's right. They're going to go in there and play God, and hopefully your kid doesn't grow a tail or 4 arms like Goro in Mortal Kombat. You're going to go ahead and you're going to just have a healthy baby, and who knows what the offspring is going to look like. Maybe you're going to have giants, Just saying, that's what happened in the Bible, pretty much. Not really, but, Books of Enoch. You can read it if you want. Here it is. We got this right here. We're going to pull up this story. This is an interesting story from MIT Technology Review. I found this accidentally while stumbling through news stories I wanted to talk about today. It's a little old. It's a couple months ago. But I couldn't believe that they've already done this. Baby KJ was the first to receive a bespoke gene editing treatment. Personalized drugs for others could be approved within the next few years. Kyle KJ Maldon Jr. was a baby with a rare genetic disorder that left his body unable to remove toxic ammonia from his blood. He was lethargic and at risk of developing neurological disorders. The condition can be fatal. KJ joined a waiting list for a liver transplant, and then Rebecca Aarons Aarons Nicholas and Curran at the University of Pennsylvania offered his parents an alternative. The pair were developing potential gene editing therapies for diseases like KJ's, and his parents signed him up. The team set to work developing a tailored treatment using base editing, a form of CRISPR, that can correct genetic misspellings by changing single bases, the basic units of DNA. They tested it in human cells, mice, and monkeys, and KJ received an initial low dose when he was 7 months old. He later received 2 higher doses, and today KJ is doing well. At an event in October, his happy parents described how he was meeting all his development milestones. Others have received gene editing therapies, including to treat conditions including sickle cell disease, a predisposition to high cholesterol. But KJ was the first to receive personalized treatment. One was designed just for him and will probably never be used again. So that's where we're going with this. Personalized treatment of gene-edited baby therapy. Now, we might break this down, and we're going to be talking about this. I believe I'll be joining today on the War Room with, Rex Jones. We're going to talk about gene editing and the benefits, because this is how they're rolling it out. They're rolling this out as, something where you can fix somebody, you can heal somebody. And is that entirely a terrible idea that we can go in and genetically alter somebody's DNA? Well, what does that say for criminals who might be able to do the same, right? Will that impact how cops can identify if you're a criminal or not? Or are they going to have to go back to old school investigation? It's interesting nonetheless. But what are the side effects? Will this baby have intercourse and have a kid with 2 heads? I'm not quite sure, but designer babies are something that have not, the idea and the conversation has not gone away. Here's another article from less than a month ago talking about, DNA editing of human embryos reignites debate over designer babies. Base editing, the process used to make the changes, only nicks one strand of DNA. Oh, and avoiding the major DNA errors that made CRISPR unsafe. Okay, so we're going to just do it in baby steps. Scientists have announced the successful use of a next generation tool to precisely edit human embryos' DNA, highlighting a major advance in the ability to tweak genes as life takes shape and fueling the ongoing debate over the ethics and safety of designer babies. Oh, what is designer babies? Well, like I said, you're going to go into the little Sears factory where they're going to pump out the designer babies. You're going to decide if you want a blueprint baby. Your kid could look like Paris Hilton, Madonna, Pamela Anderson, whatever you want them to. They'll just select the DNA and they'll grow the child that way. You know what? Maybe you'll want them to have some super abilities to be a better basketball player, and we'll add some of that kangaroo hop DNA. Maybe we'll give them some reptile regenerative DNA. So if they lose a limb, they'll regrow an arm. Maybe they'll want them to be able to breathe underwater like a fish. I'm just saying vampire designer babies might not be too far off, or, elvish babies or little baby Baphomets, goo goo gaga, and then they'll snarl. They'll snarl at you, and everyone's going to be, oh, that's a little cute Satan baby. Because that's where we're going, because some goth chick out there is going to want it. They are. That's the way it goes. The prospect of using gene editing to create babies exploded into the public, obviously, in 2018 when that Chinese scientist named Zhang Hua used CRISPR to create gene-edited babies. He was widely denounced as a rogue from other scientists and put in prison. Oh, but they let him out. Essentially, he's going to be probably let out and put in some government laboratory and government experiments and get paid real well for his, Mengele-style work. Because, that's what normally happens. Just saying. And if you don't think this is all possible, and clones aren't possible, you can go out and buy a clone dog. You can go out and buy a clone cat. There's a company named Clonaid out there that literally cloned a human being back in 2001. Here it is. We can pull it up, and they're all into aliens. They're into, let's not even joking. Here it is. Clonaid, the first human cloning company in the world, was founded in February 1997 by Rael and a group of investors who created a Valiant Venture Limited Corporation based in the Bahamas. In the first couple of years, Clonaid has already received enormous media coverage. However, due to the pressure mounted on the Bahamas government by French journalists, Valiant Venture Limited was canceled as government representatives were thinking the laboratories would be established on the Bahama Islands. Meanwhile, the list of serious potential customers had grown to more than 250 people. I wonder how many of these were like celebrities. Maybe you think you're a clone now. You can stay at home while I'm out of town. You can send yourself for pizza while you're at home still playing video games. Who doesn't want a clone? Therefore, during the year 2000, Raoul decided to hand over the Clonaid project to Dr. Bridget Boisler and Elaine Bishop in order for her to start working on actual cloning. The first human being with the team of well-trained scientists, Dr. Boisler and PhD degrees in physical and biomolecular chemistry in her last job. She was marketing director for a large chemical company in France. In the summer of 2000, an American couple that wanted to help develop this technology in order for them to have a baby contacted Dr. Boisler. They were the first major investors funding the equipment and the laboratory needed, and Clonaid's first human cloning laboratory was set up in 2001. And in the summer of 2001, following several visits from the U.S. government representatives in our facilities, Clonaid decided to pursue its human cloning project in another country where human cloning is legal. Okay, so yeah, yes to human cloning. That's what we're talking about here. And if you don't believe me, go look up cloning dogs. You can go buy your own clone dog. Let's see. What does a clone dog go for these days? Buy a cloned dog. You love your fur baby. Oh, yeah, cloning a dog costs about $50,000 through Via Gen Pets. It used to be like $10,000. The process requires $1,600 tissue preservation step before birth, split payments, and surrogate mother delivery. I think Tom Brady has, clone pets. Here it is. Oh, look, the puppy. The total cost of dog cloning is $50,000, paid in 2 equal installments. The total cost of cat cloning is $50,000, also paid in 2 equal payments. Okay. The total cost of horse cloning is $85,000. So if they can clone dogs, if they can clone cats, and if they can clone horses, do you think that they can clone people? Do you think that? Do you think it's possible, or do you think this is a bunch of malarkey? So we can get into base edited babies. We're going to get into gene edited babies, cloned humans. They probably they have the technology to clone humans. And Clonaid claimed, here it is. Let's see, Clonaid cloned baby. Let's see if we can find some videos on this. Here it is. Biohacker claims to have cloned himself as a baby. Here you go. Bridget Boisler, president of Clonaid, on the first baby. Here you go. 2 weeks ago. Some of these videos are being re-uploaded into the internet, and it's interesting. We're in a different language here. This is in 2003. This is AP. This is Associated Press talking about Clonaid. And we're going to go ahead and look up this. Hearing on cloning after claims Clonaid impregnated a woman with a cloned baby.
지금 개체 복제된 인간이 탄생할 수 있는 굉장히 말하자면 좋은 여건에 있다. 그래서 크로나이드사에서도 우리나라가 말하자면
cloning animals. Here we go. Here's ABC. Cloning animals. Woman brings clone dog, discusses pros and cons. 81-year-old man sends for cloning giant sheep and breeding it. Oh, okay. I remember that story. Meet Eve, the girl whose new diaphragm is made from pig skin. I mean, cloning is getting crazy. Cloning doctor stages hunger strike outside of Prime Minister's office. Here we go. Let's talk about this. Let's play this right here.
I'm very, very pleased to announce that the first baby clone is born.
Oh, it's born!
She was born yesterday at 11:55 a.m. in the country where she was born. So this will not give you more details about the location. She's fine. We call her Eve.
I think cloning humans is inherently
Oh, we're going to
a bad
put Bill
idea
Nye.
for
Wait. We got Bill Nye, the non-science guy. He's going to give you his opinion.
If I may, evolutionary biological reasons. And that is that if you clone yourself, if this were successful, this kid, this baby, would not be the combination of two people's genes. And so this kid would be inherently falling one genetic step behind, if you will. Everybody else would be a result of a mixture of genes. A clone would be the result of a single set of genes.
Glenn McGee is director of the Center for Bioethics at the University of Pennsylvania and the author of the Human Cloning Debate and Generation Genome. Dr. McGee was with the FDA 2 years ago when it shut down a Clonaid lab in West Virginia. He joins us now from Philadelphia. Doctor, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
First of all, why did you shut that lab down in West Virginia?
Well, I wasn't responsible for the decision, but the real issue is one that has plagued not only Brigitte Bossellier but Clonaid since the beginning of this effort, and that was false promises. $200,000 were taken from a city councilman in West Virginia to bring back his dead son, and Clonaid had set up a lab with Brigitte Bossellier at its head above a daycare center.
Wait a second. What are all the conspiracies in Hollywood about that the main person is dead and they got a clone to switch him out? Isn't that what they're talking about right here?
Promises. $200,000 were taken from a city councilman in West Virginia to bring back his dead son, and Clonaid had set up a lab with Brigitte Bossellier at its head above a daycare center in West Virginia. And when the FDA investigated, what we found was a lab that was roughly at the high school level. And indeed, that issue is with us again today. If it's possible that Brigitte Bossellier and unknown scientists, unknown obstetricians, and others in an unknown country were able to successfully give birth to Eve without the kind of hundreds and hundreds of mistakes that we saw, mistakes and medical problems that we saw with the birth of Dolly and other cloned animals, then I think that suggests that we may be entering a new world in which just about anyone can make a clone, although I myself very much doubt that she has succeeded in this effort.
All right, let's talk about the cloning in a minute, and we'll talk about Eve. But let's talk about Bossellier and this group, the Raelians. I want to talk more about them, okay? Let's talk about their background. First of all, where are the credentials? Are these true scientists? Give me the background.
Well, I want to be nice. Let's be blunt, though. The cadre of people who have claimed that they will clone a human being within the next 3 or 4 months includes a number of scientists and others whose published work on this area of research, cloning, making children through assisted reproductive technology, is about altogether 10 or 15 pages. We're not talking about a distinguished group of scientists who have worked together. In fact, when the National Academy of Sciences, at the request of Congress, brought not only Brigitte Bossellier but others together just a year and a half ago, they were overwhelmed by how little those scientists involved with this effort actually know. What we know about this group is that they've taken a great deal of money. They have come nowhere in the published literature forward toward creating a monkey clone, let alone a human clone, and yet here they are out of the blue with no baby and no mom, making the claim that they've successfully had a human birth. I think it is literally unbelievable that such a thing would happen.
All right, just for the sake of fairness here, Boisoulier gave us an exclusive interview a couple hours ago when talking about her expertise, the group's expertise. This is what she had to say. Let's listen to this and come back and talk about it.
People have been talking about defects for this reason without checking what we know about in IVF of human people. And we have experience, we have 24 years of experience on assisted reproduction of human, and we benefited from that. So we benefited from a lot of work that has been done on cow cloning, of course, because my expert, the technician who did the embryos, actually have been doing more than 3,000 cow embryos before touching any human eggs.
Dr. McGee, she's talking about her background, that they have 24 years of experience in reproduction of humans. Yet, let me just read something from the Boston Globe. This was an article that did something on the Raelians, this organization, this sect that they are a part of, talking about its founder, Claude Vourlon, the former editor of a French auto racing magazine, founded the sect in 1973 after saying that he had encountered green-skinned beings emerging from a flying saucer during a mountain hike. And according to the Raelian teaching, the aliens explained that humanity had been created through DNA technology and then whisked him, Claude, to their planet where his sexual needs were serviced by female robots and where he met Jesus, Mohammed, and Buddha. Okay, so here we are, though, talking on a serious note, this story, I mean, a lead story, is this irresponsible experimentation or are these credible scientists? You know, you read things like this and you kind of sit back and think, why are we talking about this?
Yeah, I think it's crazy. I mean, to be blunt, as I said, I'm trying to be nice, but this former professor at Hamilton College in New York, who has had some involvement with cow cloning science, it's true, is a part of a group that is basically a combination of a cult and a website. And there is little reason whatsoever to believe that they have successfully cloned a human being. More importantly, I think it's very, very clear that this group has made a number of claims about the safety of human cloning. You just heard Brigitte Boisoulier talk about 20 years of experience and how that would let her examine early embryos. These are claims that are so flagrantly scientifically false that no responsible scientist would ever make them. We know, we are absolutely certain that it is very difficult to imagine successfully making a human clone because of a number of specific problems with primate cloning that don't exist with mice and cows and other kinds of animals. She mentions nothing about that. We also know that the examination of the embryo, just the embryo, has nothing whatsoever to do with the, for example, 9
We're going to go ahead and
20
stop this, but fast forward,
that you get
right?
for
Fast
every
forward. They got it now. They can do it. Clone dogs, clone cats, clone horses. You can just go ahead and pay to have cloned animals. The first movie ever seen in the theaters in 1977. Walking flocks. It's just wild to me. The whole world, this whole idea of cloned baby. This is in 2001, but now you can get cloned whatever. You want the cloned dogs, you can get it. Hearings on cloning after claims Clonaid impregnated a woman. And allegedly that baby was delivered and is living in Israel. That's what I saw. Anyways, I want to mention, the world has gone crazy. We got these Waymo issues. Look at Waymo is racking up thousands of dollars in parking fines in Austin. Who's going to pay all the parking tickets? A robo-taxi scale cities of law enforcement agencies are cracking down on bad behavior. What happens when human cops give robots tickets? Well, I guess Waymo must just pay them. It says that Austin, Texas, Waymo's robo-taxis have struggled to follow parking rules since the companies came to town in 2024. Its vehicles have been fined a total of $9,325 in parking tickets. That's a lot. Have you guys gotten into one of these death cabs? Maybe if you have a warrant, it'll take you right to the police station. Don't know. I don't know. But, it's not uncommon. So I wanted to go ahead and pivot and show you guys something here else that's going on. The amount of censorship in these AI data center meetings are getting crazy. Jason Bassler basically is sharing this video of a man who was arrested because he clapped during the comment on a data center zoning. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and we're going to play this video here. This is right up there with don't tase me, bro. Don't tase me. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah, I have a right to clap. So I don't care. Come on, drag me out. Come on, drag me out. No, don't do it. Please let go of this. I would barely get that.
No, Jay.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, turn over. Come on, get on your feet. Get on your feet, dude.
It's not okay.
It was very clear at the beginning that each person is given their 2 minutes, and we're trying to be respectful of that. Snapping, clapping, any other rude comments or anything, we will ask you to leave. You've been finally warned, and we're done.
We are who matter. We are the people, and the table belongs to us. Thank you.
All right, next one. Will you take the next person off the class or anything, please? Thank you.
Yes. I am right to speak. Yeah, I have a right to clap. So I don't care. Come on, drag me out. Come on, drag me out. No, don't do it. Please let go of this. I would barely get that.
No, Jay.
I'm just asking.
Yeah, turn over. Come on, get on your feet. Get on your feet, dude.
It's not okay. Not okay, guys.
That's it. You just clap. You go to a data center meeting and you're celebrating that somebody said something right. You get arrested. What did you do? You clapped. Clapped, got arrested. This guy clapped once during a public comment on data center zoning meeting in Emporia, Kansas, and they arrested him. Now it's illegal to clap. Yep, just don't clap anymore. And we're going to go ahead and just arrest you. Or the robot cops will arrest you. That being said, guys, we will be taking tomorrow off, but we'll be back Wednesday. L.A. Marzulli is going to be joining us. I'm really excited for that this week, so make sure you guys are staying tuned. The legend L.A. Marzulli, you've seen him on Ancient Aliens and a lot of other programs, but we're going to dive into, are aliens really demons or angels, or what is it? What are they? What are they? And he seems to have done a lot of research on the Paracas skull. He's done a lot of research on the esoteric aspect of things, and I'm kind of curious on what he has to say. And LA's been a friend of mine for many years. Obviously, since I've been a big researcher on the giant human skeletons, I published almost 1,000 newspaper articles going back to the 1800s from human skeletons being found between 9 and, some say 35 feet tall. I'm like, holy cow, what human is 35 feet tall? There's legends in Rome of humans like 20, 22 feet tall being cut down and killed, actually. It's interesting to talk about, and it's a whole nother woo-woo thing, guys. But that being said, you guys are tuned into the Rundown Live. Follow us on Spotify, Spreaker, Stitcher. I'll be joining Rex Jones on the War Room, I believe, tonight at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. So tune in. We'll be back. I'm your host, Kristan T. Harris. Thank you for tuning in. Support this broadcast. You can Venmo me. You can all the links to all that, if you can support me, are right down in the description. Find the Venmo, find the PayPal, and every little bit helps this broadcast. And pretty soon we're going to be launching a trailer for the MK Ultra documentary that I want to put together. You guys stay blessed, and you're listening to the Rundown Live on Ground Zero Plus and anywhere where podcasts are found. Shout out to Mark in the chat. Shout out to Jason in the chat. Shout out to Kathleen in the chat. All the people that constantly check in daily with me and dropping comments that check to family on Rumble and everywhere else. Thank you for sharing and following. If you haven't, please do follow. I'm Kristan T. Harris. You're listening to the Rundown Live on Ground Zero Plus.